All right, let's start with a little test. Take a look at these two images. It's the same guy, they're almost identical. But there's one small change, the size of his neck muscles. So, which one do you think women would find more attractive?
And yeah, according to the source, the answer is, overwhelmingly, the guy with the stronger looking neck. But this isn't really about necks. It's way bigger than that. This one little detail is kind of like a key that unlocks a much deeper conversation about what actually drives attraction.
So, we're going to look at this from three different angles to really get the full picture. We'll start with the biological blueprint, then we'll move into the psychological playbook, and we'll wrap it all up with what's called the philosophical spark. Okay, first up, the biological blueprint. And right off the bat, this section is going to challenge some of the most common things we think we know about physical attraction. Turns out, we might have been focusing on all the wrong things. So get this. According to a study mentioned in the source, a whopping 70% of a man's physical attractiveness boils down to just one thing: how strong he looks. Not his height, not how lean he is, but simply how capable he seems. And this isn't just some theory either. There was a huge study of 50,000 people that found a direct link between how much a guy can bench press and how many intimate partners he's had. I mean, the data seems to tell a pretty clear story here. Now, this is where it gets super specific and honestly pretty fascinating. A 2023 study let women design their ideal male body using a digital avatar. And what's so interesting is they didn't just scale everything up. Nope. They consistently added the most size to the shoulders, then the chest, and then the legs. So, how do you even build a body like that? Well, the source breaks it down pretty logically. Our bodies are all about efficiency, and muscles are expensive to maintain. They burn a lot of calories, so your body is naturally lazy. It doesn't want to build them. To make it happen, you literally have to signal to your body that strength is a necessity. And the way you do that is by constantly upping the intensity of your training, week after week. Okay, so that covers the physical side of things. But now we've got to talk about the psychological playbook. Because looking strong is one thing, but how you act is a whole other ballgame. The source points to some really fascinating research on something called a dual mating strategy. Basically, it suggests that what women find attractive can actually shift. At certain times, those dominant, more masculine traits might be more appealing, but at other times, a kinder, more nurturing partner is preferred. So what's the big takeaway? Being able to show you can be both is a huge advantage. And being a protector doesn't have to mean being aggressive or overbearing. It's often in these tiny, subtle actions, things that show you're looking out for her, like taking the side of the sidewalk closer to the street, or gently leading the way through a crowded room. These small things can send a really powerful message about her safety and comfort. Then you have the other side of the coin, the nurturer. And the source gets this perfect example of a guy named David. He secretly kept a note of all his partner's favorite little things, snacks, movies, whatever. So when he wanted to do something nice, he didn't have to guess, he just knew. That is about paying attention. It's about showing you care in a very real, tangible way. The analysis also gets into how to signal high status without coming off as a total braggart. It's all about the difference between attention shift and attention support. So instead of hijacking the conversation to talk about yourself, like, oh, you went to Italy, I went to Italy, you support their point first. You could say something like, that perfume reminds me of Florence. You're still sharing your experience, but you're doing it in a way that complements them. All right, now for our last section. This is where we go beyond the physical, beyond behavior, and we dive into the philosophy of desire itself. And trust me, this is where it gets really, really interesting. Just think about this for a second. In the last couple of years, romance novels made up more than a third of all book sales in the US. A third. So the source asks a pretty simple question. Why? Why are we so obsessed with these stories that are just packed with tension and drama and uncertainty? Well, the answer might actually go way, way back to the ancient Greek idea of eros. Eros is all about that passionate, fiery kind of love that's fueled by mystery and, well, uncertainty. And the argument here is that modern dating, with all the apps and the checklists, is designed to kill all that uncertainty. It's all about finding someone safe and predictable. But what if, in doing that, we've accidentally snuffed out that spark of eros that we all secretly want? And for this, there is no better real-life example than this guy, Duško Popov. He was a Yugoslavian triple agent during World War II. His life was just a constant whirlwind of spying, high-stakes gambling, and nonstop danger. And, you guessed it, He was the actual inspiration for Ian Fleming's James Bond.
This quote just says it all. The story goes, he was at a casino and placed a bet that was so ridiculously high, the staff had to check if he was serious. When a woman with him asked why he'd risk so much, he just smiled and said, "I'm feeling lucky today." The man's entire life was about embracing uncertainty, and that's exactly what made him so magnetic. Okay, so let's tie this all together. How do these three pillars, the biological, the psychological, and the philosophical, all work together to actually create attraction?
When you see it all laid out, it's a really powerful formula. You start with that biological foundation of perceived strength. Then you build on it with a balanced psychological approach, the ability to be both a protector and a nurturer. And finally, you ignite the whole thing with that philosophical spark, that unpredictable element of eros that creates genuine desire. And that, of course, leaves us with the million-dollar question. You obviously don't need to be a millionaire spy to have that spark. So how do you bring that bit of uncertainty into your own life? Maybe it's just about being more spontaneous, or having a deep passion that you're totally absorbed in, or maybe it's as simple as not laying all your cards on the table on the first date. That's the thought I'll leave you with.